everyone, just like I promised, I was going to be dropping some videos from the Kansas City Mafia tour. The man that gave the tour was Gary Jenkins. He is a retired police officer. He also has his own podcast as well now called Gangland Wire. I'm sure if you know my channel, you know his channel because he covered a lot of Mafia history, especially the Kansas City Mafia. I thought it was only right to go down and visit him, and we did in-person segments together where we went to actual scenes where murders took down, where guys operated, and all kinds of stuff like that. But like I said, there's 12 episodes altogether. This is just number 1, so please hit subscribe if you want to get more segments like this. And without further ado, let's get into it.
This is where John Amaro, or Johnny Green, was killed. He got caught up, one of the early victims of the Civella Spreo War and the problems with the River Key and the entertainment district. He had a club down there in the River Key. He stopped and ate breakfast after he closed his joint with Joe Cammisano, Willie the Rat Cammisano's brother. Joe and Doris, his wife, had a club themselves, and they'd always go to this one breakfast place and eat breakfast, and Johnny Green would show up and eat breakfast with him. So he had a pattern. They knew he was going to arrive. So these two guys, Sonny Bowen and Gary T. Parker, who were in trouble with the mob already. Sonny Bowen was a jewel thief, and they had already had a contract out on him and tried to plant a bomb on his car, and it went off prematurely. A blasting cap probably did, and before it got attached to the dynamite or something, because it wasn't that big an explosion, but they found little bits of flesh and stuff in his car, a little bit of damage. So Johnny Green pulls up to here, and he has a garage door opener, which is kind of a big deal back then. So he opens the garage door. Well, those guys are waiting around the corner there. So he opens the garage door, and as he gets in, they just step around the corner and step in, one on either side of the car, and blast him with shotguns, come back out, get in their car, drive back out about 5 blocks to the main drag out there, Vivian Road, and that's where we found the shotguns, was laying along Vivian Road there, which, you know, mob hit, that's an earmarks of a mob hit. You throw away the guns as soon as you get safely away from the scene. And that was never solved, because Sonny Bowen, he told a lot of people about it. He bragged about it. That's how we know he did it. But about 3 days later, Sonny Bowen's sitting in a joint out in Midtown, and at Johnny Green's wake, somebody comes in and says, "Hey, Sonny Bowen's sitting out there at Mr. O'Brien's all by himself." So they run out there. They're all geared up. They must have had a work car and the guns ready to go, because they were able to jump in the car, run out, come in the back door. A couple of guys hold everybody at gunpoint in the joint, and the other guy walks right up to Sonny Bowen and blows him away sitting in the booth. That was kind of the end of Sonny Bowen, and that was really the start of the Civella Spreo War. Now, nobody's real clear. I think Sonny Bowen had thrown in with the Civella, or the Spero brothers, with Carl Spero, and I think this was like the first kind of shot that was fired in that war. But it got mixed up with this whole River Key, David Bonadonna, Freddie Bonadonna deal. Nobody can ever really explain it.
So what was the war about? How did it start?
Oh, the Civellas had killed the oldest Spero brother. There's 2 separate wars, so we don't want to get too complicated. Let's stick with the Civella Spero War, because that's what my movie's about, and it's more interesting and it's more long-lasting. Nick Spero was the oldest of 4 brothers. All of them are mob-connected. Mob associates. I think Nick was the only. Nick wasn't even a made guy, but they were good associates. They made a lot of money, and Nick Spero got kind of out of hand, and they found him dead in his car up north of the river. That's a classic. You know, that says the Civella family did it. His brother Carl, who was the next one, who was the youngest, but he was the next one, who was a real gangster, earned his living being a jewel thief, had actually stolen with Sonny Bowen in years past, and did some jewelry scores out in the West Coast with Sonny Bowen. And that's why I think Bowen had thrown in with Carl Spero, because he was foreman. He was going around talking to guys, saying, you know, hey, come with me. We're going to move in on these Civellas. We've had enough of them. They take our money. They don't give us anything back. And they've got all this action going, and they're making all this money with the Teamsters in Las Vegas, and they don't give anything back out. So Carl Spero's in jail when Nick, his oldest brother Nick, is killed. He comes out with revenge on his mind. That's when he starts recruiting, and that's when Sonny Bowen gets killed. He's going out. I had informants I talked to that said, yeah, he approached me and said, hey, come with us. You know, we're gonna move in on these Civella guys. And so that's what the war was about. And this was, like I said, this was the first round in that war. So why don't we go on, just drive by and take a look at Nick Civella's old house.
Well, what everyone think? I know this was just a short video, but the content's there and it's very interesting because I got to go there personally and go to the scene and hear the story firsthand from Gary Jenkins. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to get the rest of the episodes that follow after this. At the end of this episode, you'll see a playlist pop up. It's named Kansas City Mafia Tour, and that's for the rest of the episodes that'll be following along for this documentary series. Thank you again for watching.